Greetings, friends, and particularly greetings to the Wheel of Time friends that we have on the channel. It has been a while since the finale and my last Wheel of Time video, but we're back today, and I know the channel's been focusing quite a lot on miniature games, particularly the Warhammer Old World, but that's kind of the nature. When you're trying to cover all aspects of nerdiness, you kind of get focused into a small area for a while, and then you move on and find somewhere else. So that is just the way of it, unfortunately. However, we are back today, and we are back with the Wheel of Time because I saw an article over at WOTSeries that really made me think, and I thought, you know what, it's time for just a very quick chat on YouTube about the possibilities for Season 3 of the Wheel of Time. So, let's roll those titles, and then we'll get straight to it. So then, here we are. Now, this is the article in question. Scoop a small forsaken peak in Season 3 audition tape. And they have recently uncovered an audition tape of a conversation between someone that they believe is Sammael and an unknown character. With all auditions, code names were used for the sake of secrecy, but they have just dropped Sammael into the scene as it makes more sense, if that makes sense. So we'll quickly take a look and read through it, and then we'll maybe come up with some theories about what this could be, because I have got a few already. So you have this unknown character saying, "Where is it, Sammael? 5 seconds. You can't even wait 5 seconds for an answer. It's disappointing." I agree. I'd read you were one of the greatest generals of your age. I'm surprised I was able to capture you so easily. Again, making sure that we think that Sammael and Demandred have been merged at this point, and it would make sense, to be honest, because Demandred, although an ever-present looming threat in the books, doesn't really show up until the very end, and so there's really not much point in holding some big bad back to the very end if you're going to get to Tom and Gaiden and then just drop them as a new person. There'll be less enthusiasm for that person being defeated, or for that person just turning up and swiping out a famous character. So it's a good idea, I think, to combine these two. And I know a lot of people aren't happy about all of the Forsaken being cut, but most of the Forsaken were pretty crap. And it's really important, I feel, that we flesh them out some more, like we've done with Lanfear and like we've done with Sammael. It is going to be better for us to see them as humans and not just as caricatures and pantomime villains, as a lot of them tended to be in the books. And so, happy with this merger, but we'll see what they do with it. Sammael, once again going on here, wasn't the greatest general. I was a visionary, a pioneer, a conqueror. There were no armies in his time, hadn't been for centuries. So he talks about how he recreated war in a world that had forgotten war and had been peaceful for so long. He recreated it, rediscovered the art of war, taught his people to be soldiers, taught the soldiers to form armies, and taught them to follow him. This person who's captured them is baiting them. They're not here now, are they? Sammael doesn't seem bothered, though. It's just you and me. This person's not afraid of Sammael, and quite happy to wait for the question to be answered of whatever it is and wherever it is that they want. Sammael, on the other hand, just quite happy. You can't do a thing. You can't eat, breathe, or sleep, or shit. So whatever they're doing right now to hold this shield on them is so intense that they can't function as a normal human, and Sammael is more than willing to wait. But yeah, so it's a really interesting bit of script, and I urge you to visit WOTSeries.com and have a read for yourself, because obviously I've paraphrased throughout all of that. But what does it tell us? Well, Sammael was name dropped in episode 8 of season 2, which is fantastic. We know that he's going to be in the series, and it's possible, looking at this, that they might be making their debut in season 3, although it isn't guaranteed. And this bit about here appears to be shielded by a channeler of the current age, though it's hard to determine exactly who that channeler might be. So it doesn't give away much plot, it doesn't give away who they're talking to, but it does show that they've probably merged Sammael and Demandred into one uber swine villain. But here's the thing. Who is it? Who is the unknown channeler that is has captured one of the Forsaken? And it's a very good question. So I feel, well, there are only three options, aren't there, really? It is either a brand new character, either male or female, completely unknown to us from this present age, who is a throwaway character because Sammael will kill them. It is either a known male channeler from the current age from the books, or a known female channeler from the books of the current age. Of all of those, option one, although a possibility because they do tend to make silly decisions at times during production, I don't feel there's any benefit to having a powerful channeler capture Sammael and then just be killed off to show how powerful Sammael is and how they escape. So I feel it's likely to be either option 2 or option 3 with somebody with a lot of plot armor around them who they can contrive a way for them to survive and to still fulfill their role in the rest of the story. And now, this could be a lot of people, but for me, it narrows down to two possible choices who it could be. The male channeler, Mazrim Taim, I feel that there's an option there in that we don't know a bit much about Taim's early interactions. We know, spoiler warning, we know that Taim is a dark friend and by the end of the series becomes a Forsaken and ranks up, which is fantastic for him, not so good for everyone who he hurts. But as a result of this could be quite an interesting sort of dark friend and Forsaken. They are always striving, they're always competing, they're always trying to get one up on each other to be the one at the top, to be Nablus. And I think that there's an option here that, what is it? What are they looking for? It's probably Taim wants an artifact or wants something that will enable him to be more powerful and to better serve his purposes and the dark as a result. Now, it will depend entirely on how much of Taim they want to reveal at this point, whether or not they want to give away his allegiance to the dark, or whether they want to keep that one secret for quite some time in order to have the whole Rand learning from Taim and the forming of the Black Tower and all of this, while we suspect but we don't really know. But at the same time, again, more spoiler warnings, I really want them to do that with Verin, and if they're going to do that with Verin, does it make sense to do that with another character as well? It's a similar sort of plot, you know, or someone they've been involved for ages, they've been involved, oh look, they are a dark friend, how about that? Except I suppose you'll have always suspected Taim, and Verin you'll have only a little bit suspected, and most of the time you'll have convinced that actually she's really good. So Mazrim Taim as the male channeler, and as the female channeler, wouldn't this be a really interesting way to introduce Cadswan? We know that Cadswan is coming, and it would be really... She was very powerful channeler. She wasn't Forsaken strength, but she was superior to almost every other Eyes to Die that we've heard of at the current time. And, you know, up there with Egwene and Elaine, sort of, especially with all of her accoutrement of Terangreal that she's got. Now, what makes me think it could be her is I mean, it's a little bit more baity, but she was always very matter of fact. She always was very competent at tracking down male channelers and capturing them, and she wasn't afraid to push someone's buttons and get a reaction from them and use that in her way to manipulate them. And although she was unflinchingly honest, she was also very, very good at getting people to do what she wanted. And the only issue I have with Cadswan is I don't know how she would get out alive. Whereas with Taim, you can kind of see Dark Friend, you know, now you have to serve Sammael, he wins. And sort of like Magidian does with Leandrin and forces a submission. And it could be very similar for Taim as well. But with Cadswan, although I really would like it, it would be an awesome introduction. Look at her, she's captured a Forsaken. This is the first we see of her. What an incredible character. Doing this would mean that we would have to contrive some way for her to escape. She can't travel at the moment, and although she has got a whole host of Terangreal with which to protect herself and lots of tricks up her sleeve, it would have to be something really impressive if Sammael breaks out of his shield. Then realistically she has very little chance. So it will depend entirely on how they're treating power levels and treating her cunning, if you will, and her pure will to survive. But I do think it would be really good. So they are my two choices. I don't think that it would make much sense for it to be a person who we don't know anything about. I feel that that would be disappointing. I feel that all that serves is to show Sammael's power in a kind of dismissive, oh, look, character you don't care about, snap. And I think that if we're going to do that, we could probably do it better than just creating something. Him escaping and then having a grudge is much better than him just offing someone we don't care about. So I really hope that that's the way it goes. Again, none of this is confirmed, but it does keep me excited for season 3, which is still some way off. And at this point, the characters are going to be much older by the time they finish filming this, at the rate of nearly 2 years per series. But who knows? At the moment in time, I'm still quite happy with the way season 2 ended. I am desperate for more Wheel of Time content. I'm desperate to hear what you think, because this is a community which theorizes, and although we love to theorize at the Nerd Theorists, you guys have been doing it for a very long time and have probably got some better suggestions than me, so I would welcome those in the comments down below. In the meantime, if you haven't already, please do leave a like and do subscribe to this video and this channel, because the more of these we can make, well, the more of you who subscribe, the more of these we can make, and we love doing it, and we love chatting with you all about it as well. So there we go. In the meantime, there are going to be some videos up here that might interest you about the Wheel of Time, so why don't you click on those and deep dive into my coverage of season 2. And until the next time, when we get some more news, take care of yourselves, stay nerdy.